Hey guys, Spac Daddy Doug here, and today I'm going to be talking about Pershing Square Tauntaun Holdings. This is a video I wanted to make for quite a while, dispel a lot of the rumors out there, talk about the elephant in the room of who they're going to be acquiring. And this video is going to be very important because Pershing Square is the most important, probably one of the most important SPAC stocks or stocks in general in the next couple months, the next few months until make an acquisition. Currently the stock price is about $26. And the stock price is not going to go down. It might go down to 25, but if you have money parked, it is probably the best investment best and least risky investment that you could possibly make out there right now in the markets. It's a SPAC stock. The price can't drop down more than $20 to $20. And there's so many people that are behind this stock right now, so many institutional investors right now that have not pulled out any money at all, which just shows the support that people have behind Bill Ackman and who he's going to choose for his SPAC stock here. But in this video, I'm going to talk about the target, the rumors, Bill Ackman and his history, because that is extremely important to narrow down who the target is. And then I'm going to talk about the targets. Who I was able to narrow down is pretty easy, and who I think they're going to be acquiring. Let's first talk about who he said he's going to acquire. He's going to acquire a high equity or high quality IPO candidate, mature unicorn, keyword mature, private equity portfolios, and family owned companies. So based off of this information, what you're probably going to find that he's going to take as his example is going to be a business that's been established for 10, 20, 50 years, 100 years, with year-over-year growth or year-over-year continuous revenue, something that they can go into and improve the business. Maybe it's suffering for some reasons, or they can expand out of their regions. That's who's going to choose. The rumors that are currently out there are just silly, and they just keep hearing them over and over again. I'm sure everyone here has heard them again, and it doesn't make sense. Stripe, payment processing company, it sounds great. Does not align to what Bill Ackman is saying. It's too high risk. It doesn't fit into who the investors that are going into Pershing Square are or want. Airbnb, it keeps getting turned over as a name. They already have an IPO coming out. Forget about it. Coinbase, another unicorn, too risky for investors. So Pershing Square right now has 166 institutional investors, including the Ontario Teachers Pensions Plan Board. So you think, and they're actually the third largest holder. And to think about companies like this, institutional investors, they do an extreme amount of due diligence. They meet with Bill Ackman, Pershing Square. They get an understanding of who they're looking to acquire to make sure that their investment is safe. And I'm sure they're responsible for the pension plans of tens of thousands of people in Ontario, including there's other pension plans invested into this. It's going to be a safe stock. It's going to be something that is not that risky for people. So let's talk about Bill Ackman's background and his history, because this is going to lead to who his target is. As a person who's going to make probably the largest acquisition he's ever done, he's going to pick someone who he has experience with, who he knows he can succeed with. So I'm going to spend 1 minute about his background, but I think it's really important. So I'm going to talk first about his failures. Valeant Pharmaceuticals. If you follow the news maybe 3 or 4 years ago, you know about this. He had a lot of money invested into Valeant. There was a huge fraud that occurred. Stock price was $200 and dropped down to about $10. He lost $3 billion there. Target, Target, the retailer, he got a big position into that. He was trying to change board seats in there, and whatever it happened, he couldn't get the people he wanted into the business to make the changes he needed, so he backed out. Borders bookstores, if you remember Borders from a long time ago, he bought almost $1 billion into Borders, trying to get them to acquire Barnes & Noble. He had the same issue with the board. They refused to acquire Barnes & Nobles, and they actually went bankrupt, and he lost almost $1 billion in that company. And of course, Herbalife, he said it's a big Ponzi scheme. He did a big short. I don't blame him for doing this. He did lose some money on it because there was no bottom to it. People still believed in the Ponzi scheme. Now, he's also known right now for having the greatest trade of all time. With coronavirus, he turned $27 million into $3.6 billion on a single trade. It's called the greatest trade of all time. But let's talk about his successes, and this is going to lead to exactly who he's going to be picking for Pershing Square. So he has what is called a perfect track record in restaurants. If you know anything, he purchased, did a big stake in Wendy's many years ago, and then he spun off Tim Hortons from Wendy's. And then what he did is he actually created basically a SPAC himself maybe 8 years ago and did an IPO of Burger King. And then from Burger King, what he was able to do is bring in Tim Hortons, Canadian coffee shop. I think they might be in America, but I know their coffee's Canadian, and Popeyes. And it's called, they considered the best deal ever. He made almost $24 billion from this company he created, and it's publicly traded under restaurant brands right now. He currently has $900 million invested into Starbucks. And what else does he have? He has a 10% stake in Chipotle. I think it's narrowed down to about 5%, but that just goes to show what his track record is in fast food restaurants, and that's where all his success has been. So it's pretty simple to say, okay, he's a restaurant guy, and he's probably going to continue doing what he does best. That's where he's made all his money from. It's pretty simple. So what I was kind of narrowed down to his 4 target areas that he's going to go into, and I put him to five tiers. So it basically took a look at every privately held company, and Pershing Square Tiny Holdings is a SPAC worth about $5 to $7 billion. So they're going to be taking probably a minority stake in a much larger company, or they might be taking a majority stake if the private company is willing to give up all that equity, which could happen, but is probably more than likely not going to happen. So 5 tiers is what I have. So tier 5, when you break down the top 150 private companies, there are many grocery stores by revenue in that bucket. The issue with with grocery stores is they're all regionally based. There's a few grocers that are not regionally based that are still private, and the one that comes to mind is Wegmans. They do have a market from Massachusetts all the way down to Virginia. They're more East Coast. And the problem with grocery retailers is distribution. Shipping, refrigerated meats and other products on such a national level is such a challenge. Additionally, grocery stores probably having the best year they've ever had on a record-breaking year, which does not make a great investment. You want to buy low, sell high. So grocery stores are all out there. Probably not going to happen. Tier 5. Tier 4, retailers, Menards. The only one out there that makes absolute sense. So Menards is the 3rd largest retailer behind Home Depot and Lowe's, who also Bill Ackman's company does have a big stake into Lowe's. Menards is located out in the Midwest, and it does make sense for them to grow substantially. I think if they can grow their business out to the West and East Coast, it would be a great business plan. Could it happen? I don't know. That's why I put it as a tier 4. Now let's get on to tier 3. So like I was saying, he's had a big stake into Tim Hortons, and he likes food. So there are 3 extremely large private companies that fall into this area. So Tim Hortons has gas stations, and there's 3 companies called, one is Sheetz. It's a it's a not grocery store, it's a convenience store / gas station. $7 billion market cap. Wawa, $10 billion, and they're known on the East Coast, I think down in Florida too. Quick Trip, $9 billion. So that's my tier 3 category bucket. He might be going into if he can't get down to this tier 1 group. Tier 2, like he said in his targets, private equity portfolios. Now he's got a lot of interest in these different fast food chains. So there are 2 that come to mind. Inspire Brands. Inspire Brands is a privately held company that holds a bunch of these fast food chains, Arby's, Buffalo Wild Wings, Target, Rusty Taco, and Jimmy John's, and they just made an acquisition to purchase Dunkin' Donuts on top of it. So it depends if he's looking for something like this, and if he can get a company to possibly go public under his experience and his company's brand, it could be a winner. The other one that comes to mind is Jab Brands, and Pete's Coffee, Caribou Coffee, Stumpin' Coffee, Panera Bread, Krispy Kreme, Keurig Coffees is another grouping that he could potentially get into, and that falls just under what he says of private equity. So the tier one, where he's going to be going into, and I'm going to list this probably from least probable to most likely. So there's a bunch of burger chains that are still privately held. I'd say probably 80 to 90% of all fast food chains in some capacity are either public or under these big brands, conglomerate brands. So Whataburger, I believe they're down in the Southwest, Texas. Fast food chain could grow regionally. In-N-Out Burger, West Coast chain. It would be great if they would come out to the East Coast. Five Guys. Now, Five Guys is an interesting play down to my number one because they are primarily located in retail spots and strip malls across the United States. They have a great footprint. The owners of this currently said they in the past years they don't want to go public because they feel like it gives away any type of quality that they could have. But if Bill Ackman could say, hey, we have a history here, and I don't know how these guys feel that own Five Guys, but if they want to give up their ownership or give up a share of ownership because of the downturn in the market, because of COVID, that's also a possible play. Culver is another one. People are going to say Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is not going to go public. Their recipe is quality. They are a family business that really enjoy the quality. I think the family relationship, and they probably don't want to give up that type of lifestyle, because they have off on Sundays and such, and they're going to feel the pressure from the market to be open, and it's going to go against what they really preach. So that really brings me down to who their number one target should be. And it's a very interesting play. You probably don't think of this company as being such a big fast food retailer, but they are actually the third largest company in fast food sales, and they have the largest footprint of any fast food company out there, and they are 100% private at the moment, and that is Subway. They have $10 billion in sales. They have 44,758 restaurants. Now that's 44,000 locations. McDonald's, on the other hand, which is number two, has 38,000 locations. The issue with Subway is they have had year-over-year declining sales for the past 3 years. Their spokesperson, Jared Fogel's in jail. I'm sure you probably know the reasons. And their issue is they opened up too many stores. You might have not noticed, but if you go to a Subway in a town, you go around the next corner, there's another Subway. They are everywhere. So that footprint is really important, because what he could do at $10 billion is he could purchase, throwing ones out there, but Whataburger or Five Guys, and maybe integrate some of these stores to make them more successful for the franchisees. Or they could, add Subway, but then you could also get a burger or whatever else he chooses, or coffee. It could be a Subway and a coffee, but it just adds that extra revenue stream coming into all those locations, and it just makes perfect sense. Additionally, private companies generally, usually after that first generation ownership, it goes into the second generation, and by the time you hit the third generation, companies generally go out of business because there isn't that passion, there isn't that initial, that initial quality that the original owner has. So a lot of them fail over time. And the Subway owner passed away about 5 years ago. And it's pushed down to his family. And after he passed away, the company has had a lot of trouble keeping its image. They don't have a current successful marketing plan out there. They're $5 footlongs. The franchisers don't want that anymore because they actually lose money on that promotion. So it's quite interesting, and I think with Bill Ackman, they could probably come up with a plan in order to successfully make this a good company. So a little bit more about Pershing Square is, they're at $26. The stock price cannot go at least under $20. If you do have cash parked underneath, somewhere out there, it's a great place to store it. Nobody's going to be selling it. And I think over the next few months before they make a target, FOMO is going to continue to build up. And like I said earlier, is these institutional investors, they have had zero redemptions, and it's almost uncalled for. And actually, it is the first SPAC in history to never have a redemption or anyone taking away their shares, because the institutions really had that much they have that much belief in this company, and I think everyone should. It's a great company, in the sense that you're getting Bill Ackman, who has had a success in this industry, been very successful. But if you like these types of videos, please like and subscribe. Until then, I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.